I'm Blair, and this is my horror experience. It was my first day working at Tony's Pizzeria. I had been looking forward to heading home after a long shift. But fate had other plans. The clock was ticking down, just 10 minutes till close, when I heard the unmistakable sound of the door swinging open. Jingle, jingle. At first, I thought it was just another customer, which annoyed me a little. I mean, who shows up this late? Mason, my manager, had left early because his infant son wasn't feeling well. So I was alone, and all I wanted was to finish cleaning up and get out of there. I sighed, setting the broom down and trudging to the front. "Hi, may I help?" But I stopped mid-sentence, my words hanging in the air. The store was empty. The chairs were stacked up on the tables. The lights were dim, and everything was exactly as I had left it. The silverware and Parmesan shakers sat on a shelf above the garbage, untouched. "Hello?" I called out, my voice echoing in the silence. There was no answer. The store was still, too still. I shrugged it off and went back to sweeping. The only sound now was the quiet scrape of my broom against the floor as I moved mozzarella shreds around. Just 5 minutes left, I thought. Finish up, lock the door, and get out of here. But then, I heard it again. Jingle, jingle. The sound made me freeze. I dropped the broom in surprise and hurried back to the front of the store. "Hello," I called again. No one was there, but the door was open. I felt my heart race. I hadn't opened it. I rushed over, peeking outside, but all I could see was darkness. No cars, no trees, just an endless black void. The thought hit me. What if someone's out there, watching me? I quickly slammed the door shut, locking it with a satisfying click. No pizza left for them anyway, I muttered, trying to push away the creeping anxiety. Picking up the broom again, I continued sweeping, but the feeling of being watched wouldn't leave me. The shadows outside the glass seemed to move on their own, swaying in the breeze, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. I tried to focus on finishing the cleaning, but my mind kept spiraling, imagining worst-case scenarios. What if someone's out there? What if they're waiting for me? I was just about done when the silence was shattered by a loud noise from the back of the pizzeria. Slam! My heart skipped a beat. The sound had come from behind me, near the kitchen area. "Oh, hello?" I called out, my voice trembling. I grabbed the broom as if it could protect me, stepping cautiously toward the noise. "Hello?" I called again, barely recognizing my own voice. Then I heard it. Thump, thump. It was coming from the back. My stomach dropped. I knew I couldn't just ignore it. I moved toward the back of the store, my legs shaky, and as I rounded the corner, I froze. The back door was wide open. The stench of the dumpster wafted in, mixing with the cold night air. I couldn't understand why the door was open. Who had opened it? I had made sure it was shut earlier. The smell hit me so strongly, I gagged. I stood there, rooted to the spot, my mind racing. But no matter how much I tried to convince myself it was just the wind, something in my gut told me it wasn't. That's when I felt it. The undeniable sensation that I wasn't alone, and I couldn't shake the feeling that someone or something was watching me. It's Friday evening, and my parents are out of town for the weekend. They left me in charge of looking after my little brother, Luis, while they're gone. I'm Cholo, and at 17, I'm more than capable of keeping a 9-year-old from getting himself into trouble. But even though it's a quarter until midnight, neither of us have gone to bed yet. I'm in my room, trying to catch up on some homework, while Luis is downstairs watching TV in the living room. My room is directly above the living room, so I can always hear the TV through the thin floorboards. Every action movie, every reality show, every corny infomercial comes through loud and clear. It used to annoy the heck out of me, but now I've gotten used to it. I've learned to block it out, unless it gets so loud it's actually distracting. If that happens, I'll just go downstairs and tell him to turn it down, or, if I'm being lazy, I'll just shout at the floor. He usually hears me. Tonight, though, I'm focused on my homework, but I can still hear him watching something. It sounds like one of those vintage crime dramas, probably one of those mafia movies from the 70s or 80s. At the moment, I hear one of the characters, probably a mob boss or something, bragging about how his gang is going to thrash their rivals in an upcoming brawl. We're gonna pound them till they look like a newspaper. Black, white, and red all over. I can hear Luis burst out laughing at that one. Only a kid with his level of maturity could find that overplayed pun hilarious. You got that right, Lupo, one of the characters replies. Another voice says, a little more timidly, I ain't sure if we should go through with this. Don't really seem right to me. More laughter from Luis. You got a problem with the plan? The head mobster snaps. I can tell he's ticked. The reluctant character, whoever's being roughed up, answers nervously, no, I just think we oughta. He's cut off by a scuffle, followed by a series of loud thuds. Like someone's being hit with a bat. Luis giggles again. I'm still trying to figure out what's funny. The victim, or whoever's getting beaten, keeps begging for mercy, but the mob boss doesn't let up. The strikes keep coming. I hear one final desperate plea, but then silence, except for the sickening crack of a broken bone, the kind of sound that makes your stomach twist. Then, another round of laughter. After clearing his throat, the mob boss speaks again. Anybody else have any objections? No one does. In the quiet, I hear Luis snickering. The boss speaks up again. Well, glad that's out of the way. He sighs. Oh, geez. Now I'm all bloody. That line makes Luis laugh harder. I guess he doesn't understand what's actually happening, but it's disturbing to hear him laugh at it anyway. Gimme me a towel and a bucket of water, Frankie, the boss orders. Then we can toss this piece of crap out on the street. Even the rats gotta eat, am I right? Luis bursts into hysterical laughter, like he just heard the funniest joke of his life. His laughter goes on for almost a minute, growing louder and louder. Something about this feels wrong. The sound is starting to make me uneasy, and I'm getting that sick feeling in my stomach. I push the thought aside, try to focus on my homework, but the noise downstairs is getting harder to ignore. My older sibling instincts kick in, and I realize my little brother shouldn't be watching something like this, especially not so late. It's freaky, violent, and probably way too mature for him. It'll give him nightmares for sure. Heck, if I was watching something like that, it'd probably keep me up all night. Luis, I shout, get up here and go to bed. But there's no reply. Maybe he's just so caught up in the show he didn't hear me. I try again. Still nothing. I roll my eyes. Stubborn kid. He's probably fallen asleep on the couch. I get up from my desk and decide to go downstairs to drag him up to his room. As I step into the hallway, the sound of the TV suddenly cuts off. Everything goes silent. Strange, I think. It's not like him to just turn the TV off. I walk downstairs, the house dark and quiet. The TV's off, and Luis isn't on the couch. Now I'm starting to feel a little uneasy. I call his name, but there's no answer. I check all the rooms downstairs, but he's nowhere to be found. Panic creeps up on me. Where the hell is he? I race upstairs, practically sprinting to his room. I peek inside, and there he is, sound asleep in his bed, snoring softly with the nightlight casting a faint glow. Relief washes over me. He's okay. I feel like an idiot for worrying. He must have snuck upstairs and gone to bed a while ago, and I didn't even notice. Thank God. But then a thought hits me, and my stomach twists. There's no way he could have been watching TV just a few moments ago if he's already been asleep this whole time. An icy chill runs down my spine. That laughter I heard before. The laughter that sounded like Luis. It's way too close now. It's right behind me. It was Halloween night, and the house felt too quiet for comfort. My name's Rogelio, and I had spent the evening expecting to be with my kids, Aiden and Sophie. But this year, it was my ex's turn to take them trick-or-treating. It was part of the divorce agreement, something I was still learning to get used to. The silence in the house echoed in places it shouldn't, and I felt every bit of it deep in my chest. I tried to distract myself. I'd left the front door cracked open, hoping to catch a glimpse of them, but when the doorbell rang, I was more than ready to see their familiar faces. I rushed to the door, half expecting them to be there with their candy bags, faces lit up with excitement. But when I opened it, nothing. No kids, no costumes, just the empty porch, bathed in the soft glow of the streetlights. I stood there, puzzled. Maybe it was a trick or treat prank. I shrugged it off and closed the door. But then it rang again. My heart jumped in my chest. I rushed to answer it, thinking maybe they were playing a game or something. But again, nothing. The only thing on the porch was the cold wind that swept through the night air. I hesitated for a moment. What the hell was going on? This was getting weird. It wasn't like kids to do something like this, and it felt like something was off. But I shook it off, figuring it was just some pranksters and not worth stressing over. Hours passed, and each time the doorbell rang, I felt that same knot tightening in my stomach. Each time I answered, it was the same. An empty porch, no kids, no answers, just that damn ringing. By midnight, the unease had turned to full-blown worry. My phone had been quiet all night. No calls, no messages from Maya, nothing from Aiden or Sophie. I tried calling them over and over, but all I got was voicemail. Panic set in. My head spun with terrible thoughts. Where were they? Why wasn't anyone answering? The next day, the news hit. Missing children. A few families, including some of the kids from the neighborhood, were reported as missing after Halloween night. My breath caught when I heard the names of the children. But thankfully, Aiden and Sophie weren't among them. That should have been a relief. But instead, all I could feel was a gnawing fear that something wasn't right. They were still missing, but I hadn't heard a word from Maya. I tried calling her. Again, voicemail. I couldn't just sit around and do nothing. I had to know what was going on. So, I drove to Maya's place, hoping to find answers. When I arrived, the house was dark. No lights. No sounds of the TV. No laughter. Just the soft sway of Halloween decorations on the front lawn. It was like the whole place had been frozen in time. I knocked. No answer. I called out their names, but nothing. Just silence. My heart raced. A sick feeling spread through me, and I pushed through the front door, breaking it down in desperation. What I found inside left me frozen. The house was empty, completely empty. Cold, too, like the air itself had stopped moving. Maya was gone. So were Aiden and Sophie. Their rooms were untouched, beds made, toys left behind. It was like they had never been there. I stood there, paralyzed, the silence suffocating. Then, it hit me. The doorbell. The one that had rung over and over throughout the night. Was it them? Had they been trying to reach me? The thought made my blood run cold. With trembling hands, I dialed the police. But nothing. No clues, no answers, just more silence and the ticking of the clock on the wall. Every time the doorbell rang, I jumped, hoping that this time it would be my kids standing there, their bags full of candy, laughing at some silly joke. But every time I opened that door, there was nothing. Empty. Just the cold breeze that seemed to mock me.